Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take the top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and break them down into bite-sized pieces. Today, got some interesting articles. First up, this highly influential Bitcoin whale issued a dire warning to all the crypto traders who believe that Bitcoin is going to the moon. Also, XRP volume flips Bitcoin on crypto exchange Bitso as Ripple gains traction in Mexico, and why this is a very important aspect as far as what's going to happen with Ripple and XRP. And Bitmex CEO Arthur Hayes calls Ripple's XRP pure dogshit as he's about to list it on his platform. Fascinating. And finally, we'll bring it all together with Scam of the Day. Let's get into the day's first story. First up, I always find this interesting because this is about technical analysis, and I'm just not a huge believer in it. I understand why people think it works or why it works behind it. I mean, the whole psychology, I get that. But this was an interesting story about how everybody is right now going into one direction where they're saying, look, Bitcoin's going to go to the moon. But there is one gentleman or one lady who knows it's an unknown whale, and he or she is saying, whoa, not so fast. This is not the time. This is not the sign. So let's get into it. So the anonymous whale, known in the industry as Joe 007, was the top trader on Bitfinex over the last 2 months, reaping a combined 20 million in realized profits from December through January. So if he was just a trader for 2 months, of like, who cares? But he made 20 million, so not too shabby. Good for that person. Although a number of crypto analysts say Bitcoin could break all-time highs this year, Joe is countering the claims that Bitcoin will magically begin shooting toward the moon if it can break through resistance around 10,000. And this was a Twitter discussion between Bitcoin Boss 22, whoever that is, and he says, are you ready to be one with the trend once eventually the range breaks and Bitcoin does what it always does when it goes full bull? And this guy Joe 007 is like, slow your roll, man. Trends don't magically happen. They're based on supply-demand imbalances and backed by fiat in-out flows. Anyone who doesn't understand this and sees Bitcoin as some black box that magically does what it always does has no business trading. And I gotta agree. I have no business trading either. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't. I'm not a trader. I'm not a guy who has time to look at charts and go, this is what's gonna happen, that's what's gonna happen. I got things to do, don't really understand it, and it's just not really into it. But this gentleman certainly does. And he calls this guy out. And he's like, listen, he goes, just don't think because, Bitcoin went up that this is all gonna magically happen. Just calm down. Here's what's going on. So let's continue. So Joe says the number one thing to watch is the amount of fiat flowing into the crypto markets, and right now the trader's not impressed. He points to the market cap of the stablecoin Tether, which is often used as a barometer of how much cash is entering into the world of crypto. And he says, actually, there isn't much growth in Tether since last July, which would be very hard to explain from a position that we're in the middle of the new bull market, and it makes sense. If you're getting in the cryptocurrency market, you've been around for a while, you can come in and out via Tether. So if you're going to come in and be like, okay, I'm going to sit in the sidelines, or I'm going to, jump right in, or whatever it is, you're going to put your money into a stable coin like Tether, wait for different actions to happen, and then boom, you're going to pop right in and get right out. And that's what's great about traders. I mean, they can do those types of things. Now, for me, I have never put my money into stable coins because that's not my thing. I'm not here to trade. I'm here to put my money into a specific asset, and just so you know, here are what I invested in. So I invested in Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, also into EOS, Chainlink, and Cardano. So I'm not a trader. I'm not going to go in and out with Tether. I'm going to sit and hold, and I'm going to have an exit plan. And my exit plan is a percentage of all my holdings over time, depending on certain price points. Now, I have no ambition to put it in Tether, so maybe you might be like me. You're not a trader. You're just kind of putting money in and waiting until a certain point comes out, and that's it. But for traders, I understand what he's saying here. Look, there's not much money in Tether, which means traders aren't going to go in and out anytime soon. So let's continue. Other technical and fundamental factors that attract the attention of crypto traders, the whale says, are just noise and posturing. And here's where it gets interesting, because this is the same thing that happens in every comment section of every YouTube video, not just mine, but everywhere else. And people get real upset when you don't really just agree with them outright. And you just say, look, I think you're wrong. That's it. I think you're wrong. So I don't get why people get so emotional about the whole thing. Like, you got to agree with me. You got to agree because this is what it is. I mean, you got to agree. I know what it is. Listen, man, I don't agree with you. So just keep walking. I don't understand the whole big thing. And here's a prime example. He says, if you don't believe there are proper narratives to be bullish on Bitcoin in current times, you're 100% sleeping and unaware. Twitter traders are not the only sentiments everything is based on. So, I mean, this guy gets kind of bent out of shape about it. And just relax. You know, that's just how he feels. And then Joe just comes back and says, look, I'll believe it when I see the fiat inflows. Sure, all the rest is just noise and posturing. It may seem oh so exciting to noobs, but I've heard it all thousands of times during all phases of market cycle. It means nothing. Now look, if you're new to this space, this is very exciting stuff, right? You heard about what happened in 2017, what happened in 2012, and all these great stories about these huge parabolic bull markets. But I can tell you from experience, all this time that all these things happened, it's exciting for like 2, 3, 4 months maybe, but you really only got about 30 days for the parabolic bull run. If you don't believe me, I did a nice little video. It's called Bull Run Basics, and it's going to take you through the different criteria as far as time frame to get in and get out. Well, mostly just to get out, and also price points and an exit strategy is how to get out without having to hold bags for years like I did. Now you can learn from mistakes, but they don't have to be your mistakes. So I can just tell you that all these things that are going on, nothing really surprises me anymore. Nothing really is fantastic or some kind of magical thing. I know what's going to happen. I have an idea. Well, I don't know 100%. If I knew 100%, I'd be loaded all the time. But I have a good idea based on cycles, based on what has happened in the past. Sometimes the past rhymes or repeats. And I can tell you that these cycles, they go in 4 years. And the reason they go in 4 years is because of the Bitcoin halving. And again, you can watch the video of why I talk to this and why I describe it. But for me, it's not exciting. And for all these people that are getting pumped up and all these things, just calm down. Just calm down. Things are going to happen. It's going to, come alive. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And this guy, Joe 007, might be right. For me personally, I'm not putting money in the tether, so we will see. Anyhow, moving on to the next story. XRP volume flips Bitcoin on crypto exchange Bitso as Ripple gains traction in Mexico. So this was an interesting article because we haven't seen this. We haven't seen any kind of flippening. Now this is just as far as like transactions and volume. Now it goes on to state, by a wide margin, XRP is now the top traded cryptocurrency paired with the peso on Mexico's largest crypto exchange, Bitso. CoinMarketCap reports that Ripple's native currency has leapfrogged Bitso's Bitcoin MXN pairing with 5,109,000 in XRP volume compared to 806,000 for Bitcoin at time of publishing. So what does that look like? Let's take a peek. So we got XRP to Mexico, the peso. Here's the volume, 24 hours, $5,616,000. It's a lot. And then Bitcoin, as of today, right now, it's around 1 million. So the volume, it just says it right there. Now, why did this happen? Well, there are corridors open up, and Ripple has partnered with MoneyGram. They said, if you want to make these cross-border remittances fast and cheap, this is the way to do it. And it took a long time for Ripple, specifically Brad Garlinghouse, who's the CEO of Ripple, to really get into MoneyGram and say, look, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and just consistently working on them. Finally, like, fine, let's try it. And if you didn't know about MoneyGram, a couple of years ago, they were having a lot of financial problems. Not a lot, but they had financial liquidity problems and issues. And now, as far as quarterly earnings, they're on the path to success. So it's amazing what one partnership can do and how a disruptive technology like XRP can flip the switch. And if you get on board, things can work out. And this, I think, is the future. So it's a fascinating article. Moving on, says Daniel Vogel, the CEO and co-founder of Bitso, in a recent interview, which, by the way, Daniel Vogel used to be pretty negative about XRP, but he's really changing his tune now. He states, we're finally capitalizing on the huge cross-border flow that exists between the US and Mexico, which is between 30 and 36 billion a year. We've built the product alongside with Ripple, and we're seeing a significant amount of traction, and we believe that this is just the beginning of something. The stretch goal that I have set for the company is we get to 20% of the weekly remittances between US and Mexico. So right now, here is a real-world use case. Here is utility unfolding right before our eyes. This is a problem. This is a problem with cross-border remittances. And I know there's people out there like, well, I use Western Union and it's super smooth. Sure, okay. Just depends, I guess, on the corridor or where it's going to. But there's a reason why people are using MoneyGram and Ripple technology and XRP to put payments across borders. And it's because it's faster, it's cheaper, and then later on, it's going to provide liquidity for all these different small to medium-sized banks. And the small to medium-sized banks aren't going to have to pay huge exorbitant amount of fees to the large banks. So can you see where this is going? I think I see it. I feel like this is actually what's going to be good for everything as far as the world economy, cross-border payments and whatnot. All right, moving on. And last up, Ripple's XRP is dogshit, says Bitmex CEO. This is Arthur Hayes, pretty smart guy. February 5th should have been an exciting day for Ripple as behemoth derivatives exchange Bitmex adds a new perpetual swap contract for its XRP token. While Bitmex is proud to announce the new trading pair, CEO Arthur Hayes calls it dogshit on socials. Sure. And here's one of the tweets from the actual account for Bitmex. It states here on February 5th, we at Bitmex are proud to announce the trading of a new perpetual swap on the XRP token will begin at 0400 hours, 5th of February 2020. That's great. And it states here that XRP USD contracts and Bitmex will offer up to 50 times leverage. So for all you traders, here's an opportunity. 50 times leverage. Sounds like a plan. Moving forward, it states that all margin is posted in Bitcoin. That means traders can go long or short this contract using only Bitcoin. So for all the traders out there, this is your opportunity. Now, I read every comment that comes through. I love the comments. They're fantastic. Some are entertaining. Well, actually, they're all pretty entertaining. But I got to tell you, there is a huge rift between the Bitcoin maximalists, and we'll call them XRP maximalists. They do not get along too well. I don't understand. I think that if one goes up, the rest go up. You've heard me talk about this. I don't care what goes up. I think that what's good for one is good for all. And when the water rushes into the harbor, all the ships rise. So I don't care if XRP or Bitcoin or Ethereum goes up. I mean, those are one of my three. I don't care if Tron goes up. Like I said before, I don't care if any other. I don't care if Tomato Coin, Dogecoin goes. I don't care, because what's good for one is good for all. The more exposure to this space leads to mass adoption. So fantastic. So for all the Bitcoin maximalists who are like, this is trash, this is just XRP is worthless, which I don't think it's worthless. I think a lot of the different digital assets that are in the top 50, a lot of them have utility. They're solving a problem. Now, I don't think that all 2,000 are, but I do think definitely XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, EOS, Cardano, Chainlink, they're all doing something that is definitely contributing. That's why I invest into those. So if you're a Bitcoin maximalist and a trader, put your money where your mouth is. If you think it's trash, then short it. And let me know in the comment section what you think and what you're going to do. That will be interesting. Moving on. The new listing should be bullish for XRP and its price, except Bitmex CEO calls it. We know what he calls it, right? And this is what his tweet was. And I think people are getting bent out of shape for no reason. But he says, is it called Ripple, XRP, or dogshit? Who knows? Who cares? It's worth more than zero, so it's time to trade the USD pair on Bitmex. Booyakasha. So if it makes money, if it makes sense. If you are a trader, you're like, look, I don't care what my personal feelings are about this, whatever. Arthur Hayes, I don't know what he personally believes about XRP, but it really doesn't matter what he believes. It's what you believe. It's what you believe that this project is all about. So for Arthur Hayes, for him to say, even if he does think it's awful, it doesn't matter to him. He knows it's going to make money on his platform, so why not? Who cares? Who cares what he thinks? It's a pretty smart move. If it makes money, it makes sense. So that is it for today, for today's stories. Thanks for sticking with the rants. If you got time, we're going to go quickly through the scam of the day. Now, first of all, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. What we try to do is get rid of scams. And the reason we try to get rid of scams is because this is the year when we're going to see a lot of people coming in, FOMOing in, or just coming in. Doesn't matter. And once they get here, we got to make sure that it's a pretty hospitable place. and it's not just riddled with scams and people get separated from their hard-earned money. So we try to look at different scams throughout YouTube. Now, in the description of every one of my videos, you're going to see a link, or it's going to say Scam of the Day. And next to Scam of the Day is going to be a link. It's going to send you to this Google Spreadsheet. And it's going to link you to the spreadsheet. And this is where you can find all the different scams that we have found and what have been removed and not removed. Let me go over here. So we started this January 14th, doing pretty good so far, about a month. And we've eliminated about half, which is pretty great. We just need a little bit more help to remove the rest of them. So it's pretty simple. All you're going to do is click on one of these links. Now, if you see that it's removed, you don't have to do anything. But if they're still there, we're going to click on this link. Go to the, before I go on, to make it super simple for scams, if you're like, what's a scam? What's going on? I want you just to do this. Treat everything as a scam until proven otherwise. If you're in doubt, contact the official website, Ripple, EOS, Binance, Nano Ledger, whatever, to verify. You'd be surprised how many times it looks like legit, and then you contact like Nano and you're like, or Ledger, and you're like, hey, are you guys doing this? We're not doing that. That's a scam. Are you doing airdrops? Binance, we're not doing airdrops. Binance isn't doing it. So if you're in doubt, just treat everything like a scam, and you'll never get screwed out of your money. That's the simplest way I can say it. But, however, there are going to be people who aren't going to listen to that advice or even hear that advice, so we got to kind of clean up things. So we're going to look for these types of scams. And how do we know it's a scam? First, we look in the comments section. A lot of people say it's a scam. That's a red flag. Doesn't mean it actually is, but it's a red flag. Second thing is asymmetrical giveaways. This is perfect classic case. To verify your address, just send 1,000 to 1,000,000 XRP to the address below, and you're going to get 10,000 to 10 million XRP back. Here's the thing. Nobody is going to give you free money. You are not special. If you think it's a scam, it probably is a scam. Treat everything as a scam until proven otherwise. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to downvote it. Click on here, I dislike this. We're going to look for the report button, which is sometimes hidden in scammers' world. You'll click report. And you're going to go to spam or misleading. You're going to choose one. You're going to say, that's a scam. Then you're going to click on this. This applies to the links within the video description. Click on next and say this is a scam. Exclamation point. And just report. And that's it. That's all you got to do. So pretty simple stuff, pretty easy. That's all I wanted to say about it. So if you got time, go ahead and click on the scam of the day. Find one scam or all the scams and downvote, report them, and that's it. If you like this type of video, there's going to be 2 more that are going to pop up to your left and right on this screen. I don't know what they are for you because they are curated by YouTube for your particular viewing pleasure. So go ahead and check those out. And I want to say thanks again for watching the video, and I will see you on the